When was the last time you woke up with real energy? Not that coffee-fueled energy, not that willpower-based energy. Real energy, the kind that makes you want to get out of bed before the alarm goes off. If you had to think for more than 5 seconds, this video is for you. There's a belief that silently takes root in the lives of millions of people. Sleeping poorly is normal. Waking up 3 times a night is inevitable. 5 hours is enough because the body doesn't need that much anymore. Science says otherwise, and what it has found about what happens inside your body when you finally get enough sleep is one of the most fascinating stories I've ever researched. It's not rest, it's the most productive time for your body. Studies published in journals such as Nature Communications, Science, and Current Biology have sought to answer a specific question: what actually changes within the human body when you consistently sleep between 6 and 8 hours a night for 30 days? By the end of this video, you'll understand what happens in your brain in the first week, in your metabolism in the second, in your heart in the third, and what changes in your memory and mental clarity in the fourth. Plus, the 3 saboteurs that destroy sleep even when you try to sleep more. Let's start with the discovery that changed everything. The CDC recommends at least 7 hours of sleep per night for adults. 1/3 of Americans don't get that much. Among those 40 and older, that number is even more concerning, and most don't seek help because they believe it's normal. It is not. This is Carolina's story. 58 years old, North Carolina. She goes to sleep at 11 p.m. and wakes up at 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 5:30 a.m. When the alarm clock rings, she's already been awake for 40 minutes. She drinks 2 coffees before 8 a.m. She eats more than she wants in the afternoon. At night, she can't switch off. She doesn't have a disease, she has a pattern. And this pattern is doing something silent inside her body that doesn't show up in any routine exam, but which a systematic review published in PMC, analyzing 18 cohort studies with adults associated with increased cardiovascular risk, glucose dysregulation, and elevated blood pressure. What surprised me about the research wasn't what poor sleep does, it was how quickly the body begins to recover when sleep improves. I'm going to introduce you to a system that most doctors didn't learn in medical school because it was discovered less than 15 years ago: the glymphatic system. Throughout the day, your brain works non-stop, and like any functioning system, it produces waste products, unused proteins, byproducts of neurometabolism. Among them is a protein called beta amyloid, whose accumulation researchers link to Alzheimer's disease. These residues accumulate in the spaces between brain cells throughout the day. At night, during deep sleep, cerebrospinal fluid, a fluid that circulates around the brain, actively flows through a network of microscopic channels and literally washes these waste products out of the brain tissue. It's the brain's cleaning system, and it only works while you sleep. A study published in the journal Science in 2013 by researcher Mike and Nadergaard of the University of Rochester documented this mechanism in animal models and showed that during sleep, the extracellular space of the brain expands significantly, allowing fluid to circulate and clear waste much more efficiently. In January 2026, a randomized clinical trial with 39 human participants, published in Nature Communications, confirmed that this glymphatic cleansing actively occurs during sleep in humans, transporting Alzheimer's biomarkers from the brain to the plasma. When you don't get enough sleep, this system becomes compromised. The waste accumulates. Now, the second discovery, which directly explains why Carolina is always irritable, eats more than she wants, and can't resist cookies at 3 p.m. The amygdala is a small structure in the center of the brain, the emotional alarm of your nervous system. Under normal conditions, the prefrontal cortex, the rational part, functions as the security guard that assesses whether the alarm is real or false. Without enough sleep, the security guard leaves. A study published in the journal Current Biology in 2007, conducted by researchers at the University of California, Berkeley and Harvard Medical School, documented using functional magnetic resonance imaging that the amygdala of sleep-deprived participants was 60% more reactive to negative stimuli than that of those who had slept normally. And the connection between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, which allows for calmly evaluating situations, was almost completely deactivated. It's not a lack of willpower, it's neurobiology. And that's the good news. As sleep improves, these connections are reestablished, and faster than most people imagine. What changes week after week? Week 1. The brain begins to breathe. The first change that the research documents is in emotional regulation. With the amygdala recalibrating and the prefrontal cortex returning to work, situations that previously triggered intense irritation begin to seem manageable. Not because the problems have changed, because the brain has been able to reassess them. For Carolina, this translates into something concrete. She no longer needs 2 coffees before 8 a.m. She can wait. Eat something first. Exactly what we learned in previous videos is ideal for glucose control. And afternoon cravings begin to decrease, not through willpower, but because the brain is no longer in urgent reward-seeking mode. Week 2. Metabolism reorganizes itself. Here's the direct connection to what you've learned about coffee and sugar on this channel. Chronic sleep deprivation raises cortisol, the same hormone that coffee on an empty stomach amplifies. Chronically elevated cortisol instructs the liver to release more glucose into the bloodstream, overloads the pancreas, and contributes to insulin resistance. At the same time, sleep deprivation raises ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and reduces leptin, the satiety hormone. A systematic review published in PMC confirmed an association between insufficient sleep and markers of insulin resistance in adults, independent of diet and exercise. When sleep improves, this cascade begins to reverse. Cortisol finds its rhythm. Hunger becomes a real signal again, not a constant alarm. Week 3. The heart rests. During deep sleep, heart rate drops and blood pressure decreases. Researchers call this the nocturnal dip in blood pressure and consider its absence a sign of cardiovascular risk. A review published in PMC, based on multiple cohort studies of adults, documented that chronic sleep deprivation increases sympathetic nervous system activity, which accelerates the heart rate and raises blood pressure, even during the day. With adequate sleep, this system finds its balance. Think of the heart as an engine that never stops. Deep sleep is the only time it operates at idle speed for hours on end. This pause matters, and it accumulates night after night. Before we get to week 4, where memory comes into play in a way that will surprise you, let me ask you something simple. If you're learning something here, give it a like. Help this channel reach more people who need this information. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. Every new video here is based on real research. Now, week 4, memory returns. During sleep, especially during the deep sleep and REM sleep phases, the brain consolidates memory. This is when the day's information is transferred from short-term memory to long-term memory, organized and stored. Think of it this way. Daytime is when the library receives the books. Nighttime is when the librarian organizes them on the right shelves. Without enough sleep, the books end up piled on the floor. By the 4th week, people consistently report they can remember where they put their keys, follow conversations more easily, and feel their thinking is more fluid. This is no coincidence. It's the cumulative result of 22 days of brain cleansing, metabolic regulation, and cardiovascular repair happening silently every night. But to start sleeping well, you need to adjust your routine. I'm going to give you 3 practical adjustments you can start today. 1. The 3-2-1 strategy. Sleep medicine specialists recommend this schedule to prepare the body for sleep. 3 hours before. Last meal. Digestion raises body temperature and competes with the process of entering deep sleep. 2 hours before. End work. The brain needs to gradually slow down. 1 hour before. No screens. The blue light from cell phones and televisions suppresses melatonin, the hormonal signal that night has arrived. 2. Room temperature. Research shows that the ideal environment for sleep is between 15 and 19 degrees Celsius. During sleep, the core body temperature needs to drop. A room that is too hot prevents this drop and fragments sleep even without you realizing it. 3. Consistent schedule, including weekends. The variation in sleep schedule between weekdays and weekends creates what researchers call social jet lag, a misalignment between the biological clock and external time zones. A review published in PMC documented that this misalignment is associated with poorer deep sleep quality and a higher risk of metabolic disorders. The smaller the variation between days, the better the sleep. In addition to these adjustments, there are 3 saboteurs that make it difficult for you to fall asleep earlier. Saboteur 1. Blue light after 9 p.m. Cell phones, tablets, televisions, they all suppress melatonin. The result is not just difficulty sleeping, it's shallower, less deep sleep with less glymphatic clearance and less memory consolidation. Saboteur 2. Coffee too late. Half-life of 5 to 6 hours. A coffee at 3 p.m. is still circulating at 8 p.m., keeping the nervous system activated and preventing the drop in body temperature that deep sleep requires. We've talked about this before on this channel. The connection to sleep is direct. Saboteur 3. Thinking you've gotten used to it. David Dingus, a researcher at the University of Pennsylvania and one of the leading authorities on sleep science, documented what he describes as sleep deficit blindness. After weeks of poor sleep, the subjective feeling of tiredness diminishes. The brain adapts to the sensation and begins to interpret it as normal. But the damage continues to happen silently. The amygdala remains hyperreactive, and you continue to react disproportionately to small situations without understanding why. The glymphatic system remains compromised, and the proteins associated with Alzheimer's continue to accumulate without being eliminated. Insulin remains dysregulated, and the hunger between meals, afternoon fatigue, and difficulty losing weight continue without an apparent cause. People think they're fine. Their bodies tell a different story. So what happens to your body after 30 days of adequate sleep? The brain clears itself. Emotions regulate themselves. Metabolism reorganizes itself. The heart rests. Memory improves. All of this happens while you sleep, effortlessly, without supplements, without the gym, just with sleep. The idea I want you to take away from here is simple. Sleep is not the time when you stop living. It's the time when your body does everything it can't do while you're awake. One important thing before we wrap up. If you wake up tired, even after sleeping 7 or 8 hours, or if someone has told you that you snore a lot or stop breathing during the night, see a doctor. Sleep apnea and clinical insomnia require diagnosis. This channel exists to help you understand the science, not to replace medical care. If this video resonated with you, share it with someone who keeps saying they've gotten used to not getting enough sleep. It might be the push they need. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. The next video is coming soon. In the next video, what happens to your body if you walk 30 minutes a day for 30 days? The results the researchers found go far beyond what you might imagine, and some directly contradict what most people believe about exercise. Turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Until then,